So we're here at the halfway stage of the season, the World Cup break. It isn't actually the halfway stage, to be honest, but it's near as damn it. I thought today would be a good time to look back on all of Nottingham Forest's new signings in the summer, because as lots of people have liked to publicise, we had to sign a lot of players. I did this video come the end of the transfer window, and it has changed quite a lot since, because I've seen more of these players. So these are the categories. I'm going to go over and grade all of our new signings from the summer. I think I will do this again at some point in the season, looking at the entire squad, just grading how they've done this season, maybe at the end of the season or the halfway stage officially. So we've got top three. You've been one of the top three players this season from the new signings that we've made, in my opinion. Good, it kind of speaks for itself really. Encouraging, I think it's an interesting category because you can put players in there that at first we weren't quite sure about them, or we expected a lot of them. They weren't really showing it, and now we're seeing the best of them, for instance. Could do better, honestly. I think our recent upturn in form before the World Cup, that has kind of changed this category quite dramatically. I don't think there's going to be many in there. And not played enough, I think it's kind of self-explanatory. Top three, we're going to go in order, I think. I'm going to put Lewis O'Brien. Arguably, I think he deserves to be in top three. Does he deserve to be in top three? Is that me being a bit too steep? I don't know if he should be in good or top three. You know what, we're going to start him off there, and if I change my mind, he won't be in the top three. But I love a Lewis O'Brien. I think he's fantastic. He's constantly forward thinking. When he's on the ball, you trust him. You kind of just know what he wants to do. He knows immediately what he wants to do on that ball without even really conferring with his teammates. And I just think it's a joy to watch him. You see, whenever he's come on the pitch, he's made an impact. He's got the game moving. And I think in that Spurs Cup game, we saw why he's still a really integral member of the team. With again illness and then just squad rotation, it has kind of hindered O'Brien. But I think he should have played a lot more than what he has done. But ultimately, midfield is definitely the most congested area of this team. You've got to be on it to consistently get into the team. And I think O'Brien, in the long haul, 100% could be a very important player for Forest. When it comes to Moussa Niakhaté, I feel it's a bit of a tough one, because based off his overall quality, I think everyone puts him probably in top three, at the very least in good. But I'm in two minds here. We've only seen Niakhaté play not even 2 full professional games. If you're going to count pre-season and just his reputation, then you probably do still put him up here. I don't think that's found the other players. He's not even played 2 full games yet. But based on what we've seen, very encouraging. But at the same time, I could have just put him in not played enough. So do we give him the benefit of the doubt that ultimately he's a very good player and he's just been unfortunate, and we'll just put him in encouraging? For me though, there's no doubt about one of the top 3 members of this tier list, Morgan Gibbs-White. What a joy to watch. What a fantastic, heavily talented footballer. He gets things going all the time. He's forward thinking, a bit like O'Brien, but an actual attacker. He can play in so many different positions, and I think, yes, it took him a bit of a while to get going, in the sense that, you know, putting up numbers, scoring goals, getting assists, but on the ball, the trickery is immense. And there's been a few too many times where I think he has kind of been caught out. He should have really used his teammates more. You know, he hasn't got to where he wants to go, but ultimately you've seen that the talent's there, the potential's there. I think that's the key word with Gibbs-White. But we're seeing more and more just what an important player he is. He's one of the first names on the team sheet. He's got to be in this top 3 for me. Emmanuel Dennis, I feel either good or encouraging. I think at the start of the season, I probably would say could do better, because I don't think he was doing well enough. Yes, he wasn't getting much game time, but I felt like he just wasn't passing the ball enough, and that still applies. He's way too greedy on the ball, and there's been so many times, like against Arsenal, a shocking game, we're already about 4-0 down, but he was through on goal. All he had to do was square it to Brennan, and it would have all but certainly been a consolation goal. But instead, he tried to play himself out of trouble against Arsenal. He was never ever going to succeed. So times like that, he needs to be nowhere near as selfish. But ultimately, I do like him as a player. I think against Aston Villa in particular, this photo, in fact, he was really good. But just use his teammates more, and honestly, I think he's right up there. But I don't think could do better. I think encouraging, honestly. Remo Freuler, now another contender for top 3. I'm not going to put him there just yet, because he had a slow start to his Forest career. The first few games, he just wasn't working. He wasn't looking like the player that we thought we were getting. But I think we've seen over time, the last several matches now, since the Aston Villa game, I think in particular, just how much he's improved and how much he's important to this team. And the way he just goes about his business so quietly. Very smart player. I really like Freuler. I think, you know what, I kind of think Freuler should be in top 3 ahead of O'Brien, because Freuler has played more than O'Brien. I'm going to keep it like that. I'm sticking to my guns. So we're going to do these 3 at the same time. Biancon, Richards and Bardet. They've not played enough. In these 2 guys' case, they've not played at all. I think Bardet's going to go back to France. His loan quite clearly, I say hasn't worked. He's just not played a minute or second. Don't know what's going on with Bardet. Don't really know why we signed him. I feel like it's a bit of a panic buy, to be honest, on deadline day. Richards, incredibly unfortunate. Not entirely sure how he's going to get into the team with all the left backs we've got, but hopefully we do see him at some point. And Biancon is gutting for him. Hardly played. Whenever he did play, he looked quite good, and then he gets an injury that puts him out for the whole season. It's gutting for Biancon. He seems like a really good individual as well as a footballer. Hennessy, I think he should be in good at the very least. He's played 2 games in the Cup, looked really good in all of them. And overall, I think if you're looking at him compared to Henderson, his distribution's a lot better than Henderson's. His saving is probably just as good as well. And I could see why some would say put him in goal ahead of Henderson. But I do think Henderson, how many times can I say Henderson in one go? Dino is probably, he's the better goalkeeper, isn't he? He's a younger goalkeeper with more potential. But I do like Henderson. He's got a very safe goalkeeper on our hands there. Harry Toffolo. Now, this is a really tough one because I think overall he's been good. He's been very unfortunate. He's played like the first 6 or 7 games in a tough part of the season. He looked quite good. Genuinely, I thought he looked really steady. But then he got pushed out the team for Lodi. Lodi got injured. He came back into the team. Played really well in that Aston Villa game. And then he was also out as well. So now it's very tough for him to get back in, especially when Lodi has improved massively the last 2 matches. So I'm not entirely sure what to do with Toffolo. I think good based off what we've seen, but overall, he's been a backup really, hasn't he? Czech Kuarte, big fan of Czech Kuarte. You know what? I kind of feel like it's wrong to put players like Kuarte and Toffolo on the same level because obviously they've not played the same amount of minutes, have they? But I do love Kuarte. I'm surprised, to be honest. I didn't think he'd play as much as he has done, but he's a really interesting player. He really is. He's not really quick, but his ability to keep the ball in really tight situations, his physicality is so amazing to watch, to be honest. And I think he's a really smart player. I think he's like our next version of Cafu, bit of a cult hero. And I think he's got to be in good at the very least. Nico Williams, again, I think he's got to be in good, really. I think there's going to be quite a few in good because ultimately I can only put 3 in the top category. Right, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make another tier. So you need to watch this whole video in full to truly get a good reading of this before you comment. Dave, you have no idea what you're doing. You don't understand football. You don't understand Forest. Right, okay. We're going to make this because I think there's different tiers to this. We're going to put great and decent. I think we're going to put those 2 there. I think Nico should be there, you know. There's a lot of tiers involved. I don't like to normally overload tiers, but I just feel because the top option is literally I can only put 3 players there, I don't feel like everyone else has been good should be on the same level. Okay, so next up, Mangala. I think based off what we've seen of him, he is a really, really amazing player. And I think Mangala and Niakate, I think a lot of people will agree they're 2 of our best players. But they've both been incredibly unfortunate with injury and then with suspension in the case of Mangala. Whenever he's played, he's looked fantastic. And also he struggled to get back into the team for some reason. Overall, he has been fantastic this season. But you know what? He has played more. He has played more than Niakate, so we will give him the benefit of the doubt or put him in great. But in terms of pure quality, probably his top 3. This category was made for Jesse Lingard. Jesse Lingard has got to be there. I think, obviously, we all were really hoping to have a very exciting player, the one we knew we were going to get at the very start of the season, but he just didn't perform at all. But the last couple of games, we've seen not the very best, but we have seen a really good version of Lingard, and you hope there's more to come. Even though he's older, he's clearly still got the talent. And watching that documentary about him, I will be honest, it opened my eyes a bit more about Lingard, about the fact that ultimately he's had a lot to contend with. And I feel that we're going to see the best of him in the second half of the season. And I'm so thankful for that. I didn't want Lingard to be a flop. Lodi, I think encouraging. If this is just the second to last week of the season, I would have put him in could do better. But fair play to him, he's dramatically improved. The last 2 games, that Brazilian flair, he's there finally. The one we thought we were signing from Atletico Madrid. I still don't think he's at all worth, about 25 million. But it's early days in terms of him actually showing what he can do. Dino, he's got to be in great, but you know what? I'd see why some would say top 3. I think there's only really not many other people I think should be there. I think a lot of people are certified that Gibbs-White's in top 3. I think some people might disagree with O'Brien. Maybe put Freuler instead of O'Brien. I can see why. But I think Dino, that might change. I'm going to keep him in top 3 for now. But he's saved us so many times this season. I did criticise his distribution, but overall he's been a really important goalkeeper for us. But you know what? I'm going to keep him in top 3 for now. And he likes the Rads YouTube channel. So that's enough, in my opinion. But you know what? He's not going to be in top 3 for long because Sergio Aurier is going to be in there. He is exceptional. I'm going to put Hendo here. I think that's still a fantastic category. I'm so happy we've got Sergio Aurier. Like, seriously, he's the last one through the door. We're all thinking, why do we need him? Why do we need another player? You know, we got Nico, we got Biancon. We certainly needed him. And we needed that depth more than anything. But he has been fantastic. I feel so confident when Aurier is on the ball. He's so composed. He's so at home in the Premier League. We have not got the Aurier that has been quite a bad reputation throughout his career, particularly at Spurs. So, honestly, I'm so happy that we've seen the best of him. I think it's the spark that he needed. And yeah, a surprise package to be honest. But I'm a massive fan of Sergio Aurier. Awani, I think great. I do think great. I think ultimately, you know what? No, I've just realised I think we should put Dennis in at the very least decent. Awani, he scored a lot of goals for us this season. He's not top scorer, but he could have had so much more. And all of his goals, yeah, they're still a goal. They've been tap-ins. They've been rather simple. But I do think that he could have had more. There's quite a lot of times where he's missed sitters. And I feel that Awani he's not the finished product at all. But he's clearly a very, very big talent. And one that I'm excited to see more of. The final player, Willy Bolly. I think encouraging based off his last 2 appearances. I don't think he was quite as bad as some people made out in that Fulham match that he played, but he certainly weren't what he was in the last 2. He's an interesting player. He's a safe pair of hands. Well, that's a goalkeeper phrase, isn't it? He's a safe pair of legs, I suppose. I don't think he's a long-term solution at the back, but I don't mind Bolly. I think he's a decent option to have around. I think, honestly, based off that phrase, he should be indecent, but he's only been decent for about 2 games. He's not played that much, so honestly, I think that's about it. I don't think anyone could do better right now. I think could do better is basically saying, you haven't been good enough this season. And I think everyone has proven throughout the season that they are good enough to compete in this division. And with Forest, I think maybe a handful of changes that some people might disagree with. Maybe Henderson and Freuler should be up here. Maybe I've put O'Brien too high, but I just think O'Brien deserves to be there. If we're going to order this, I honestly think it's that. And I'm not going to order these, but I think that's probably the top 3 in order. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed this, everyone. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts, and I'll see you very soon. Up the Reds. There'll be a video out at some point. I don't know when actually. I'm kind of trying to be as consistent as I possibly can be. But there's always something around the corner, so please stay tuned, and I'll see you very soon, everyone.